Good morning. Good morning. Namaskar. This is Senior Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, August 12, 2021, Thursday. Title being Civil Field Engineering Quality AnnexSL COVID-19 SHA Engineer's Role to two Designs, Construction, Methods, Contracts, Organizations, Communications and Coordination. Why we behind quality of concrete standard material. Talk another way to describe, to understand certifications. I say every day these certificates must be valued, must be honored, must be justified in a way that people must realize facts. That certification is not easy because every time you have to prove, one has to prove competency. It's like practical performance because the certificates are issued one time in life, and at that time valuation of certificate is conducted. Whatever value one gets, certificate is issued accordingly. But real value comes when it is tested in field according to time, according to risks, according to reliability, according to analysis done by people themselves. What level of thinking we have, what level of engineering we have, what level of performance one has, all that is taken care of, and that's why this certification becomes very important there. It's not simply having certificates, but you have to prove that certificate works, means person works. I usually get comments, remarks from people who were in Arab countries long back, particularly when I was too young, and I heard these comments from various Arab people and others. Okay, you are an engineer, do it. Got my point. If I think some work is given, they simply say, yes, you are an engineer. In some answer, you can say to some unnatural question, the answer is that do it and prove it. If you are an engineer, you prove it, you can do it. It's a surprising one. Only certificate is not an answer. You must have capacity. Work, and you can work without aid because you are having competency certificate. It's not simply having certificate, but to work accordingly, you should tell your quality, tell everything. Really, that is very, very important point I can say I had to face, because say that you have to work according to contract documents, and in particular according to specifications of this project or contract. In those days, particularly, there was no issue on lump sum. It was item based contracts. Item rates, I mean, say, measurement basis contract. You know what is item rate. Some item is defined, and there may be 200 items in one contract, 150 items. You have to pay according to work done on each item. Means measurements are done in field, real measurements, and work payment is made according to those quantities. Once those quantities are measured, multiplied by the agreed rate, and you get amount against that item. That is called item rates. It's not lump sum, but it's based on actual work And in that case, there were no so many documentations about specifications, because specifications were also standard one in that government department. There was no need to write separate specifications for every project. You can say there were no specific written document which you can say quality based specifications. So there was a standard document having many items. Still that is, I think, somewhere, I don't know. We used to call in daily it as CPW documents, CPWD specifications, CPWD analysis of rates, or so many like that. Now, I don't think that values much, because everything is refined, everything is advanced, everything is based on work experience, and those may be collections of some items. I cannot say exactly. I cannot even understand how that document could be derived, could be designed or drawn when there was no many work. 4 or 5 books and extract out 6th book for them. But that is just writing work. It doesn't matter much. I'm not talking of writing work here. But I'm talking of quality. My focus is on quality. It remains on quality and safety. And safety is a parallel arrangement with quality. So my dear friends, I'm saying is quality is something different. Those quality systems which were based only on quality control, quality testing, that system was you can say very small. That was not you can say customized one. That was general one. And generality doesn't have any meaning when we talk of professional work. And I'm talking on professional work. It means profession says that it is advancement, it is expertise, it is specialty. Profession got many meanings. When we say somebody is professional in whatever discipline, whatever field, this means that person has reached to a point where that person understands a lot or excessively studied on that subject or on that you can say topic, and that's what he has reached to that level where everybody cannot reach. That requires theoretical study, tutorials, practical study, and on top of all, experience. Experience is father of everybody, mother of everybody. Experience is will for everybody. Experience is card for everybody. Experience is very important in profession, and it weighs your qualification, which is based on academics. It weighs your worthiness. Otherwise, nobody knows. Everybody is an engineer if you have certificate. Everybody is a doctor if you have certificate. But these two professions, doctor or engineer, value certificate to some extent. You can say for purpose of initiation, for purpose of admission into profession, and not more than that. Yes, everybody has a right to use title of ENG, that is engineer, or title of DR, that is doctor, or DOC doctor. That title is one part. I'm not talking about title. Title people have got. Even if they don't work, you have title. A person who doesn't work as medical practitioner but is qualified, is educated, and has registered, one has right to write doctor title all over life. And same way, if you are a graduate engineer or BE or ME, postgraduate, you have a right to use title ENG, for example, bachelor engineer. BE you can write, or you may write ME, or you may write PhD, whatever you can. That only communicates that you are educated one. It doesn't communicate that you are a professional expert or professional achieved one, or you are a professional maker. Professional maker means whatever terminology you can use there can be used. My concern is different. My seriousness goes to that order where you are involved fully in work or job, and you think for that job. You don't think for that honor for whom you are doing job, but you think for job. That thinking means you try to immerse yourself, means your mind, mental capacity which you have to do that job thoroughly. And maybe a person like you, another engineer, designed that job, or you designed that job, and write specifications yourself, keeping in view what shape this job, this piece should take, this building should take, this machine should take. Means every viewpoint you can say, you have to bring in, you have to import in through your mind. And when it comes through mind, means analysis comes into play. When it comes to mind, it comes into mind only when thinking comes into play. Thinking works in your mind, followed by analysis works in your mind. And analysis tells you where you have to do something, where you have to change your route or change your focus, or you have to re-understand, re-study requirements. That's where you can say analysis is done, is conducted itself. We say I am doing analysis, but fact remains that analysis is done by properties of that input which you get. You mean to say analysis in fact is self-speaking. It speaks itself, means it's same thing as if you do sequences 0 to 9. If you come from 0 to 1, 1 says that you have to go to 2, and 2 says that you have to go to 3. Means work itself would tell you, problem itself would tell you what you have to do if you can think and analyze. That's where engineering stands for. And property in a sense, if we talk of analysis, I have no right to do analysis until I don't understand what I have to do, and that would be known to me only by my mistake or only by my capacity not to resolve that issue. If I can resolve that issue, this means I have experience on that issue. I can simply resolve it and move on, no further requirement to analyze. But when I am not sure about that, I am not confident because of lack of experience in that direction, that problem itself would tell me where does it stand and what solution you can use for that. Maybe it tells you indirectly one or two or three alternative solutions and you select one. That selection is your capacity, but solutions come automatically because solution always lies within problem itself. It doesn't come from unexpected sources. Only point remains that trial is important and you have to find what is best for you or for this product. When I say best for you means it's for product, not yourself. So when we conduct analysis or analysis is conducted, you can say automatically, you find many ways out. Problem leads to analysis and analysis leads to solution, and solution leads to application, and application leads to job delivery, and that's what field is about. And all into this picture comes, all wherever you see theory comes into play. For example, theory of structure comes into play. Somewhere you can say applied mechanics comes into play. Somewhere you can say physics, chemistry come into play. Sometimes you can say whole engineering comes into play, and sometimes nothing comes into play. Based on experience, common sense comes into play. When I talk of common sense, there is no other sense higher than common sense. Common sense, which is considered in civil engineering heavy tool. Just like say heavy equipment, I consider common sense as heavy tool, heavy equipment, whose operator I am as engineer. I am operator of common sense. If I can operate common sense, engineering stands with me, it supports me, because ultimately we think of. Every engineer is a thinker. If engineer cannot think, then I cannot call that person engineer, even though one has academics based qualification, because thinking lies in blood particle of engineer, in soul particle of engineer, in mind state of engineer. Only then it is engineer, because term itself says one is genius. If you analyze term engineer, EN stands for in, and Jain stands for intelligent person, genius person. So if you are genius means you are engineer, this means genius means a thinker. High level thinker, not low level thinker, not thinking of counting or tables, but thinking of problems and solutions, thinking of materials, thinking of resources, thinking of nature, thinking of world, thinking of environment, thinking of durability, thinking of stresses, thinking of strains, thinking of materials. There is no minimum definition of thinking. Yes, there is article definition. There is no minimum definition for analysis. There is no minimum definitions of synthesis. There is no definition of application and analysis and reliability, of course, which is a part of thinking as well. It's based on thinking, it's based on analysis, it's based on problem solution, it's based on synthesis, it's based on, you can say, proposals, it's based on specification, it's based on working method, it's based on how do you move further, it's based on each and everything, and that ultimately you get some product, you get something which weighs on all properties, and that you can say that is heavyweight champion of reliability product. Engineering, of course, is too difficult field in sense that we can't go without this. It's of course cost supported. Without cost, no engineering can be done, because engineering means even if you do design, which we be so is thinking only, but cost is cost, time is cost, thinking is cost, and you can say supports are expensive and risks too are involved. So cost is very important, and that cost factor should be optimum. We cannot waste cost, we cannot waste time, and time waste means cost waste. We cannot waste quality. Quality means we can't say waste, because if you don't do quality, there's no question of wasting, because you don't even draw to yourself the quality system. So it's something different. Means we have to understand every point in life, and life is really time based. It is you can say construction based. It's not only civil construction I'm talking of construction everywhere. Construction when you study, construction when you work, construction when you can say acquire property or acquire whatever you do. When you even a student draws some picture of fruit or something else, that's also called construction. When you do something, it's also called construction. Means construction means where various elements are joined together, where various parts are joined together. Machine itself is a construction of many parts. We call it manufacturing, but we should not say machine is manufactured. It's parts that are manufactured. Machine is assembly of various manufactured parts. There's a difference. I call machine parts as members of a structure, and machine is a structure based. It's a kind of a structure which has to perform to certain function and to certain, you can say, requirement, to meet some requirement. A machine is a circuit of various spare parts, various parts electrically operated or manually operated, and that is based on certain design mechanism. That mechanism proves to work, and energy is involved. It may be electrical energy, it may be mechanical energy, or it may be some other kind of energy, and that's where you can say here construction is manufacturing of parts and assembly of parts. That assembly and manufacturing, and you can say manufacturing parts play a role, and accuracy is very high in mechanical world, because parts require to fit in each other, and even if there is a 0.25 millimeter play, machine may not work. Here we consider structure. It's machine of real world. When I consider structural framing or structural parts, These parts are not simple stones, these are not simple RCC or concrete. These parts have certain conduct, certain behavior. They work in that way. That conduct, that behavior is very important one from viewpoint of skeleton. We say skeleton of building, skeleton of whatever other structure. That skeleton must be functional. I can say, okay, this building has foundations, this building has columns, beams, people call as usual. These are slabs, or they call linters. All these are together built, or if not built, at least they are built within some phase. But these members work together. Maybe they are constructed in difference of times, but they work together. And that is part where I say, when one load is applied on whatever structure, immediately that load reaches soil for purpose of spreading. It doesn't take years or months or weeks or days or hours. Immediately it is transferred. The time you put load on somewhere, it goes directly onto soil within fraction of seconds. Of course, some is condensed by structure, but ultimately whatever theory applies on that, it goes down and it dissipated, it is, you can say, diminished into soil forever. So it is same when I can say transfer technology. And whenever we design structures or we take decisions based on load distribution, load transfer, moment transfer, force transfer, safety of everything, quality requirement, reliability requirement, all are considered together. And these elements which I am talking of, this product defined quality, is achieved. If it cannot be achieved, then attitude question comes into. Either people involved in that are not well experienced, or they are well experienced but they are careless. They are careless, they are not serious. And if one is not serious, sometimes even in 1 hour work, you are not serious for to say 1 minute, there are chances that you may make mistakes. So you can say relevant element or product defined quality to be achieved. Individuals required attitude quality to be streamlined. Individuals' dedication to be applied on actions. Work commitment to be made and fulfilled for delivery. All other parameters to deal with per requirements. Designs of structures and other must be decisive, safe, qualitative, and must be reliable for prosecution. All stage designs being significant, but merely design does not suffice. If construction and development are not affected to specified marks required or defined, quality cannot be allowed to be ignored. Design drawings must have quality input and duly coordinated to produce working details. Keeping average site working conditions for site cannot be relied upon automatically, but provide clear notes, specify properly and explicitly. I mean to say, when I say quality plays its role, means it plays its role. There is no way that you can run away from that. Being an engineer, it's duty of everybody to think in that way. And that is the reason that I'm very serious about quality issue, because if I miss quality, that means I miss engineering. Without quality, nothing can be delivered. And if you deliver without quality, you are not a professional. You don't understand quality, you are an ordinary kiosk owner or a shopkeeper, retail shopkeeper, nothing else. And I think engineer doesn't mean a shopkeeper. Engineer means a developer. Engineer means a high level thinker. Engineer means a person who can think, who can change and not simply follow. engineer means is different. It means innovator. It means you think of unknown. Think of unknown, because if you know something, you can improve that. You can think to improve, but you cannot think for that item which already exists, because design of that and making of that is known. That you can say something unknown must come to mind of an engineer, and that you can say is a work of art. Yes, it's a work of art to think of something unknown. When that work of art is thinking, as creation in mind, or you can say imagination, or you can say focus on hypothetical world. But when that picture is achieved, that has to be created physically, and that process of creation from imagination to practicality is called engineering. Art is converted to physical production. That is what you can say is engineering. So engineering is not simply I give you drawing or you give me drawing and I construct that. That's only a part of engineering, which is called construction or which is called manufacturing. Quality is a dominating part in engineering construction, engineering manufacturing, and unfortunately, people can't understand quality. They say, they write, they claim, but it's only limited to that document, not more than that. When I talk of engineering, this is automatically understood. I talk of quality and I talk of safety of that item we are going to use. If you use gas cylinder, gas is filled and don't use it properly and don't be specify what's been done, and we have to take care of that. It shall explode, it shall leak. And same way, if you don't design structures properly, we don't take into consideration what is required, and after that we don't take into consideration whatever is to be constructed. It is issue. It won't work qualitatively because it has not been either designed qualitatively or been constructed qualitatively. And if it's not been constructed qualitatively, it's a question mark. And that question mark is always a bit difficult to answer, and that difficulty is very much important. And we have to take care of that, and that care is, of course, very much different. We have to understand our probabilities, our, you can say, requirements, and I can say that of course it is a bit tedious, but it has to be understood properly. Now, quality is very important from each and every viewpoint. We have to understand every point. We have to understand in quality, and if you don't understand, it gives a problem to everybody. Quality and engineering means quality. Product means quality. If I don't get quality into product, I can say I'm not a manufacturer, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a professional, because I don't value myself. I don't value myself means it's little problematic for me to continue on that. So when I say every time I talk of quality, I try to explain in different way. When I talk of safety, I try to explain my submission in different way. When I say submission, because it is up to you people. I can't force anybody. I can't force someone do it. It's you people to do it, to get it. It's your job. Without that, you can't do. Without then you can't move further. And it is safety, it is health, it is, you can say, environment that plays a role. It's quality that plays a role, and it's not that easy as we think it is. It is really very much I can say basically required. If it's not done, nothing can move further. We have to be very serious about this. You have to create quality and not someone else. If you are engineer, you are professor, there's a difference. Engineer thinks of quality, engineer thinks of product, engineer thinks of how to do it. But if a professor means, you'll just think of how to make it improve, how to improve it or how to innovate it, but not to produce it. That's the difference. So you are a professor as well. You are engineer means you are a professor. There is no need of any sanction from anyone to get your term professor. You are thinking, you are working, you are leading yourself, and you are leading products, you are leading resources. So you are practically a professor of your own because you are designing yourself. You design, you think which material you have to use, you have to devise method how to do it based on designs, and then you have every right for selection of resources. And of course you are not doing on a massive scale, but you can say, for example, we conduct mixes, we conduct trial mixes, we conduct trials for materials, we conduct mock-up tests. All such activities in construction or in engineering means work of professionals or work of profession practically, which once is successful, it can be repeated many times. So it is, you can say, field professor you are. We are engineering, practical engineers mean field professors. We instruct thousands of workers, we refer to hundreds of details, and then we do something. We require material, we make selections of material. All this is very tough job, difficult job, time consuming job, but everything, every proposal is weighed, every material is considered for approvals. And approvals by whom? By means say approvals by you can say engineers using minds and comparing to requirement, comparing to what is described, what is specified, and what we get against that, and what are tolerances. This is what a kind of, you can say, quality work, it's kind of safe work, it's a kind of, means a consideration of safety and performance expected from that material. So we have to be very frank in this talk of quality and safety, because this is different world, and only production or just forgetting these two or ignoring these two, which nobody can do actually. No one can say that I don't care for quality. Practically they may not care, but in theory, even if they write a paper, they would say quality is a must, though they don't care about quality. And that's the difference here. What we talk of, what we write of, we don't do it in field. And there's only loss point, whereas we can say we slip. Generally 98% people slip in field, and slipping means fracture of leg or some other part of body, and that fracture means loss of quality, loss of strength, loss of potential. This is a very important point, because these days we can say our safety is very bad all over world. There is no denial can be made because of confusions on minds. I'm just referring to COVID-19, which is a part of current health. And when I talk of safety, health and environment, and if I miss COVID-19 in 2021, then I do not do my job rightly. It's concern for everybody. Maybe some people are careless, but nobody wants to get disease, nobody wants to lose life. That's also true. Some people are ignorant, but there may be some reason for them. Fact remains that still knowledge about COVID-19, or you can say basis of this and how it works, is off track. Despite there are thousands of engineers around the world, thousands of doctors around the world, thousands of scientists or so-called professors around the world, and every day I see in news or I read that one speaks one thing, other speaks another. This means there is no alliance among thinking, there is no coordination among thinking, and because it still remains secret, and until it remains secret, it's not cracked, we cannot know realities. So we can say we are in in a stage where we have to find out how it works, and that's also, you can say, part of geniality, a part of high level of thinking. In COVID-19 world, I mean to say all over world, otherwise, humanity has been taught a lesson, but humanity has not understood what lesson is. That's where we can say difference lies in. I'm not going to imaginations, I'm going to facts. And the facts are that we don't understand secrets. It takes time to understand them. It takes time to explore them. Secrets are secrets, and when it's secret by nature, it's not easy to understand. When we study sciences, we study facts. We study facts. We say you have to raise question what it is, why it is, how it is, and what we can do for it. How can we move it further for further improvement? Generally, science is based on such. It doesn't base on just what I say is right now. If I say something, I must have logic behind that. That's where explanation is done. Science cannot believe in, it doesn't believe in poetries, it doesn't believe in stories, it doesn't believe in commands. It believes in explanations, speaking explanations, scientific explanation. And that explanation hasn't come till now. So you can say still COVID-19 is like a superpower or secret power that humanity doesn't know, because we have not developed that quality system, even in medical science, that can tell us what it is. Trials and this and that they conduct all time, and they say we are working on this. Thousands of world scientists haven't cracked this nut, the secret nut of COVID-19, and that's, you can say, kind of either failure, or you can say loss of concentration, or they are just not able to find it, or then something shall be known later on automatically if God likes that, God thinks that people should know. So we can say quality drops there. Without understanding, they are giving treatments, they are giving inoculation. Okay, fine, that is precautionary measure, but that is not logical precautionary measure. That is just trial. You can say out of 100, if 2 people die, these days scientists don't mind. There is no problem, 2 people die, 98 are safe. They consider this way. Means they have no logic, but they say okay, maximum can live, let 1 or 2 go, no problem. That's the point where it's different. Because of this, what I was involved, I was thinking, they call long COVID nowadays, L-O-N-G, long means distance, or long means size. Long COVID they say, which means practically if you were a COVID patient 1 year back, you were taken out of room after isolation of 21 days or 17 days, and they used to call it recovery. When I used to dispute it, it can't be recovery. Recovery can happen to something which is known, that we detected this infection in your body, and we know what this infection is, then we apply medicines onto this, we apply treatment onto this, and that defect of physics that appeared in your body, we have rectified it, and that's why you recovered. That terminology, recovery, can be applied there. But if you don't know what problem is, how can you say it's recovered? So it's happening again. They say it's now long COVID. If your symptoms tell, if some patient was COVID patient 1 year back, or now some system are not being that efficient but before. Body pain likewise means so many systems have been described for long COVID. This means we could not study till now what is COVID and what's long COVID. We just name it because it has still been COVID. Why did we call it recovered then? This means this was not recovery, it was just barricade. You should call it barricade or conk. It's a cordoning off. You just place some obstruction on way that time, and COVID stopped functioning there. But it was inside. They used to say, oh no, this is not active. But in 25% cases, it has come back active. That's main point. Means it doesn't work, and still more and more versions and more and mutations are common. For example, Delta is jumping everywhere. People are not serious. It started from Bharat, India, and Bharat people are not serious. They don't even understand how harmful is that. And every day you will find many statements from many higher profile people, and certain statements are contradictory, certain are not contradictory. And when irrelevant field people are and mixed up, or they jump into this field, more complications are made. Economy is in eyes of everybody. It strikes eyes of every politician that we lost economy. We have to gain it, and gaining it is not easy. In that case, you have to work in a way that COVID shall enter yourself. I have seen all over the world people have stopped using or wearing face masks, and I don't know reason for that. Reason could be that people know, oh no problem, it won't say anything to us, or we won't get it because we have vaccinated ourselves, or we have taken some other way that it won't impact us. And that is where delusion lies in, that's where confusion lies in. They were mixing up lies in, because we do not know anything and we assume this is okay. I mean to say, some people say God will save us. Indeed, God shall save you, and there is no doubt. God saves everybody. But God also says, at least you do something for me, but you are not doing that for God. God cannot come to everybody. God just passes message through some system, and God cannot appear for you and says, okay, if mask wearing can do something for you, Google wearing can do something for you, or spectacle wearing something can do, or some other measures that are required for prevention can do something for you. We should adopt that. So I don't know why people are discarding masks, why they have been turbulent, why they go oppose these PPEs, personal protective equipment. Reason is unknown. But I see when I walk, more than 90% people do not have masks, and this is really very bad, very risky. Why don't they have masks? It should be. Well, it's up to you. I can't force anybody. I try to bring in some point all the time, because COVID-19, as one scientist said rightly, why do you think that COVID has gone or at end? Because it has not even started its work, and that's really valid point. It's not started in work. You can see many countries now crying. South Korea cried yesterday in news that it's plenty of COVID-19 again. Hong Kong is cut off China because of that, and many other borders are cut off. And same you can see in United States, every day around 100,000 cases are coming in, reported, of COVID-19. It's happening in UK, more than 27,000 cases average coming every day. It's happening in all of the parts of the world. The news are not pouring in, but we can smell what's happening there. We can smell. If China-like country is not safe, who has been blamed for COVID, that it knows everything about that. If they are not safe, Delta has shaken them, but they are complicated. They are not complicated like everybody. They are smart nation. They are smart society, I can say. I like that way China. They are very serious people. They don't take it leniently. Like for example, in whatever city it was, they're testing each and every citizen, and that's greatness of not our country. Bharat India, like where people are not serious and government is not serious at all, and they don't care for how many people have been tested. Still, less than half, you can say around less than 40%, or you can say around 35% people have been tested only, and which is really very, very third degree treatment while handling COVID-19, because our nation doesn't trust in testing. They don't care for testing. They think politically only, they don't think health-wise. Unfortunately, whatever systems we have currently, politics plays a heavy role on that, not health and not other requirements. That's our weakness. And you can say some company made money also, like there was news of Pitt Fisher, $13 billion they are going to make. $13 billion profit. Well, this is bad. Means this is human disease and you are counting money. What I always say, vaccination is a delusion, and to that extent that I'm not saying vaccination should not be done, it should be done, but some people has converted this vaccination manufacturing to industry, and they think of money. It's not service then, it's just manufacturing and selling. And they, like Pfizer, I said, so many companies, other companies too do exist, and they are just doing business, commerce. It's really stupid, I can say, nothing else. Well, I'm not. Just like we said yesterday, we were something somewhere, and now we tried for many. We had to, I did not take a full explanation. I just said it's kind of safety measurements, it's kind of safety subject. You have to understand very well when we have to face risks. Safety is involved with everybody, and loss of safety, or you can say reduction in safety keeping, also applies to everybody, because when somebody sees that safety takes time or safety costs money, though it doesn't cost that much. You may be an engineer, you may be a businessman, you may be a manufacturer. A little time comes to your mind, why should I waste on this? No, don't even allow that thought to come to your mind, because if you are a contractor, if you are a company, if you are someone else, it's responsibility of that organization to ensure that whatever work its people do, they do it safe, they do it intact. We have to understand what is safety. We have to understand what is task. We have to understand what is risk. And we have to find solution how to reduce that risk. Risk always stands. No activity can be done without risk. And even you walk on road, you cannot walk without risk. It's a fact of life. Means you have to keep safe. It's not that easy that you will be safe automatically or someone shall take care of you. No. It's yourself. It's individual who have to move in a way that one feels safe, and not feels, but one is safe. When we talk of activities, we talk of work, we talk of, you can say, what way we have to do it. And when we say what we have to do it, then we have to say on steps of each steps of each walk or each work activity, how this activity shall be taken up, what is its procedure, and what can be problems, what can be challenges on that route we have to go. We talk to people about tools, and that's not only hammer or chisel. We talk of every tool, small or big, but it depends on which activity we are talking about or we are doing. Toolbox talk, we call it, though there's no toolbox. There's no toolbox. It's tool or box, you can say, which we can say, if we describe some tool how it works, then we can put that tool in a square box on paper, and then we say this is figure or whatever. That is what toolbox I can say. It's not physical toolbox. It's a toolbox. That tool has to tell us how it is operated, and when it is operated or when it works for operation, what what impact it can pass on to person who uses that tool. And you can say what ways they are to use that tool safely according to its function, according to its structure, that it doesn't harm user, or you can say tool applicator, tool, you can say not applicator but work applicator, tool user or worker or personal. Even if I am an engineer, if I don't care for tool, I can also, for example, I use a knife. Knife is also a tool. It's very simple to say knife. I'm using knife, and I want to, you can say, cook my vegetable. This means I have to first must have vegetable. Then I have to see which is, I have to check out all vegetables. Then I have to remove skins of all vegetable. Then I have to wash them, clean them, and then I have to go to further chipping them out. So you can say there are so many acts are involved, so many actions are involved just in a small item of vegetable cooking. I'm just telling you how many activities are there. Means you have to examine, you have to inspect, you have to see, you have to clean, you have to chip out, and to skin out, and then peel out, you can say. Peel out different vegetables like potato, tomato, or brinjal, or carrot, or whatever else, ginger, tomato, everything we have to discuss about it. And it takes time, of course, but it is activity. You use knife for chipping out or for skinning out or peeling, and that knife can, if your attention is diverted or you think something else because it's not mind work, you just chipping it or just skinning, removing skin cover or peeling it off, so that at least somebody touched that one should go off. Now it's point, but knife can harm you if you divert your attention. Got my point? While you peel it off, or you then after washing cut out very small pieces, knife can damage your hand or something. That's what I say. Safety consideration. Here is risk of your impact of knife on your skin. So those very small impact, but it's impact. There's another impact that there may be some virus in that vegetable that can enter your eyes if you don't take care. At least till you wash it, that particle can stay on vegetable and harm your eyes, or it can enter your nose. So while you are doing that, you need precautionary measure, and that is also mask and goggles, you can say, or spectacle. So it's not simply technical work on jobs. Again, as I said, in home also it works. You have to use fan for ventilation. You have to keep your window open. Likewise, you can say safety task works. It's safety task. If I don't care for that, I can abuse this use of this knife, and that can harm me. That point. That's why I say toolbox. Here there's no tool. Here tool is knife. There's no toolbox, but I have to take care of that. That's very important point. Different types of knives are available. Somebody has one, somebody has key type, somebody has something else, but work is same. Just like you cook, everything, it depends on you how to do. That safety task is involved everywhere. Toolbox talks is involved everywhere. Then nobody will come to teach you how you have to do it. It's daily, it's done in home, but after all it's a process. Maybe we don't care about that. We don't care because sometimes we don't do ourselves. We deploy some maid or some servant for that purpose, and we think, okay, let that suffer. No one has to suffer. Care must be taken. Even you use servant for that. So why I am giving this example? Because I have seen in my career that People are careless. They don't care something very small, but sometimes something very small becomes very risky, because not because we do not know that risk, we know that risk, but because we think, oh, it's very small item, don't talk of that, we talk something else. And that is called ignorance. That is called, you can say, condoning of that item, or not to focus on that. That's why we say every tool, even in home you use knife, or you can use, even you frying something, you use some tool, or you stand on near gas, you use gas cylinder. That also requires safety arrangements, because people don't care about that, and we find news sometimes there's explosion in that gas cylinder. Means it's also a very important part. Risk involves, risk stands everywhere. You walk on footpath, though people don't generally walk, and there may be very, you can say, even 5 mm protrusion from surface of footpath or walkway, and if you do not know where it is, you just walk keeping eyes straight horizontally in line of collimation. You stumble at that point where protrusion exists. Maybe it's fault of mason who finished that surface, he didn't care for that, chip out. Or it's fault of that engineer who supervised, who didn't care for that. But the small piece results in your fall, your stumbling. And it happens. That's why I say safety lies everywhere. For example, walking on stairs, you're descending or ascending. Maybe you don't think of that time, because you're used to ascend or descend on that stair or from the stair, and you quickly jump, like jumping, you ascend, or slipping, or you can say descending very fast on that. That's really problematic. Light is off, so I have to go up and see. Light is off. Problematic point. I have to go up and see how this works. Sorry for this, there is no light. Actually, I was talking of this toolbox talks. Then it's very important to consider toolbox talks seriously. And if we don't consider it seriously, we may not get benefit of our controls. Toolbox talks is very important for every tool which are going to be used. And if our people, our functionaries, our workers know what precautions we have to take, but even after that they are lazy, they sometimes say, okay, I know it, don't worry. Because yawning is a serious issue on site. Lethargy is a very serious issue for workers and sometimes also for those who supervise them. Because of fatigue, because of continuous work, they work 8 hours, 10 hours a day. After all, they are human beings. They also feel sometimes, oh, leave it, no problem, I am expert of this. And believe me, that expertise is a problem. Yes, you are expert. You are expert, but that expertise means you should be conscious also. Sometimes, even after knowing everything, accidents results. I have seen people use mobiles, they don't care, they don't know consequences because of fatigue. Sometimes they compare and think, oh, this call is very important for me, and they work on call, they talk and respond on call as well as they work on activity. Then they should stop activity at that time better. Okay, it's loss of time, but it's better to avoid damage, to avoid accident. Of course, one has to face action, but that supervisor also has to think of, had this person been busy on both, either you don't take call or take call in lunch time or some other time, but accident should be avoided. It can be at cost of deductions also, no problem. So talk, safety talk, even it's for a knife, is very important. It's for whatever. There are very many, you can say many electrical operated power tools which you call. It may be drill, it may be, you can say, grinder, it may be saw, and there are many more. Cutter, hammer. Hammer means chisel. You may say electrical equipment that can break concrete, and likewise many other. Or non-electrical equipment, manual equipment. Every tool must be understood, and I cannot say you can understand all tools one day. Therefore, safety people, safety functionaries are involved, foremen are also involved to inter-exchange, to at least remind, if not to teach, refresh, if not to give them something new, that you have to take this. It's kind of, recalling that you are going to work on this activity, and this tool you shall use for so many hours. You have to use this way. Don't be careless. And every time, it may be in couple of hours, when people visit, officers visit, safety officers or construction officers or supervisors, they visit site. They should visit site for work. I know safety people visit for if anything wrong there, but keep a watch on such tool workers, because they should not be talking while using, at least while using tool, and tool should be switched off if it's not in use. There are reasons and there are explanations for that in our safety. And then we have to, when different type of tasks is there, toolbox talks is enough as far as I know. Toolbox talks is enough because no tool is continuously used for many hours. In between some activities, or we use some tools, And if tools uses safe, I think it works. Safety task analysis risk reduction talk, that is called START, START, safety task analysis risk reduction. That's a process that in which employ personnel to identify and resolve environmental safety and health hazards. That's what we can say. It's an analytical tool, analytical talk. Means you have to first analyze what risks lies in, and then how to reduce that risk, which we actually talk on job hazards analysis, or job hazards, I can say. It's very important, that is which we call in job hazard assessment, task activity, hazard control sheets. There are some points in this. When we say safety task analysis reduction talks start, and means job hazard, we identify key job steps, tools, equipment, potential environmental safety and health hazards, hazard control practices, we can say hazard control practices, and we may also say hazard control practices, required personal protection equipment for large, more complex and usually repetitive jobs. We talk all this and talk this one. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, we can move on this. I think there's some drop maybe in levels of I think level of there's a drop in signals probably. Let me see if I come down. Let's see, come down.